Blessed Day Reflection by Abia listeners. My name is Abia Grant, and we are here to reflect on our life journey. We will be discussing topics related to self-awareness, self-improvement, and mental health. Also, the purpose of this safe space is for us to be free to discuss the ups and downs, celebrate the wins, and talk about ways to improve the lows. So welcome to this podcast, and I hope you gain something from this time we share together. Hey guys, how you doing? It is your girl Abia Grant. Welcome back to Reflection by Abia. I hope that you are doing well and you're having a wonderful and blessed day. It's early in the morning right now. Me recording this podcast episode is actually 5 minutes after 8. And you guys know I like to record in the morning because I feel like this is when my thoughts are like the most freshest, and I don't know. I just like recording in the morning. I like when it's sunny outside and it's just bringing that positive aura. But welcome to episode number 28 of the podcast. Thank you guys again for listening to the podcast and leaving your feedback is definitely appreciated. So thank you. But like I said, welcome to episode number 28. And this topic here is something that I've been pondering on just in general the past couple of weeks in regards into my journey in life. And the question I kind of posed to myself is, if you could go back and change something in your life, what would it be and why? And would the outcome be any different now that you have changed something from your past? As I was going through this question, there was many parts of my journey that I thought about. I thought about my relationships with men, failed relationships with men due to just they weren't the right person. And also, I didn't value myself. And I just really wasn't in the right mental space to actually be in a relationship. I feel like these relationships were when I was younger, that I was looking for, I don't know, I want to say value, which I think is something that I said before, but I was looking for this need, to want to be in something because it felt like it was the right thing to do, and this was going to, this person was going to take care of me. And I think I've mentioned this in prior podcast episodes or a episode before. And then I started to think about like my youth. There's been, and I keep it real in this podcast and do let you guys know my family does listen to the podcast. In order to do better, you have to talk about the things that were painful to you. I don't get very explicit in regards to things that has happened in my past. But when I think about my youth, there are parts of my journey, yes, that at that time were great. But also there were parts of my journey in which I wish I didn't see. Those experiences kind of shaped who I became in my 20s. And it's not until my 40s now that I am kind of reshaping that whole dynamic with relationships. I feel like my effects of my relationships come from my youth. It comes from also which I spoke about before, the lack of a male role model. I think that all these factors impacted my life. But what I kept thinking about this week was if I could change any one of those. I mean, obviously we wouldn't want to change the good experiences. More so, we probably would want to change the bad experiences. I mean, maybe you would want to change the good experiences for something else. I mean, I'm not in your situation, but I've really been contemplating like if I could go back, if I would do anything different. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. At first, I was like, well, I would not get into this relationship, or I would focus more on myself, or I would travel, or that's one of the things that I want to do. Or I would have gone, like, I had opportunity to go away to school. I would have taken the opportunity to go away to school. Like, would that have changed my pattern, my life pattern, my journey? I feel that even though some of the experiences in my life were not the best, it shaped me to be who I am. I'm at a place now where I don't want to and I'm because I didn't completely flesh out this thought. So what you're getting right here is nothing that I wrote down. It's nothing that I have been saying, okay, this is what I'm going to say in the podcast. Is not, this is like coming from my soul, my heart. And this is the reason why you hear me pausing throughout, this podcast. But if I could go back and change any one of those things, I honestly wouldn't. The reason why I wouldn't is because I feel like those situations again shape me to who I am. And that means that I have to understand that God, the creator, put me in these certain situations for me to learn more about myself. And although the outcome was not necessarily what I wanted it to be, I have to understand where I'm at now, where I'm able to look at a situation and be like, no, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z because I know the impact of that. Now, if I never went through those experiences, that means that in my 40s, 50s, and so forth, I could be making mistakes that could have been made in my teens or in my 20s because I've never experienced it and I never learned from it. I also feel like these experiences helped me have the conversations with people and be like, this is what I went through. This is what I learned. Part of me is a teacher. I've always felt that in me. I speak about myself highly. It's not to be narcissistic or anything like that. But I've always liked to have conversations with people so that they could understand the full aspect of the choices that they're making and the possible outcomes. I mean, obviously the person could choose to listen or not listen. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect in all things. I always mention in the episodes that I am not perfect, but I have been through things that a lot of people have not been through. Now, that's something that I want you guys to think about. Like, truly, we as humans, we go through a lot. There's people dealing with probably way more heavier things that I have dealt with in my past. Just to name a few, we could talk about abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. We could talk about childhood trauma. We could talk about job trauma. We could talk about family trauma. We could, there's so many things. We have different types of emotional issues, anxiety and depression. And we got, people dealing with schizophrenia and bipolar. And there's so many things that people are going through that's way bigger than my situation. And I'm not saying that dealing with those situations are easy. I'm not saying that they're going to, the outcome is going to be any different than you choose to be, or it chooses to happen. But again, that's just a part of the journey. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Reflection by Abia. Feel free to check out the podcast Instagram page and my personal page, simply.abia, also on Instagram. The links will be available in the show notes, so let's get back to the podcast. And then the other side I've been thinking about it is like, okay, what happens if I did change just one thing? Let's say if I change all the things that happen. That means that my life would be supposedly peaches and cream, And I feel like in life, to be real, life is about lessons. Life is about learning. Life is about growing. And if everything was perfect, like truly, what's really the purpose of life? Is that true happiness? Because I think, not to deviate or me, guys. I deviate, so it is what it is. I deviated. I'm going to be deviating. I think about people who have lots of income, and I think I mentioned this before. And they are supposedly, quote unquote, doing well for themselves, and they're saying, well, their life is perfect. Like, truly, is their life perfect? It's like, I feel like there's always that need. Even though life is perfect, I still feel like we still want that challenge. And I'm not saying like, okay, you're supposed to go through rough things. I'm looking at it in the context of, you want things to be real. I don't want to live a fake happy life where I'm smiling all the time and I'm skipping down the street. Like, and I know some people are like, well, I would love to have that life. But I feel like we make that life. Even when things are not going the way that we wanted to go, we figure it out and we make the life that we want to make, or create the experiences that we want to experience. That's the drive there. I can't say I'm necessarily conflicted, but maybe you guys think different than I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure we got a million billion people in this world, so I'm pretty sure somebody out there thinks differently, because it is what it is. When I say it is what it is, it's like these experiences are what they are, and I have to accept the fact. I just say, guys, like, through it all, just make sure with wherever you are right now, that you are valuing yourself. You're not repeating. You're learning from the past. And again, another thing I've probably mentioned in the prior episode is, don't get so stuck in the past that you're not willing, that you can't grow from it. It's not going to help. I'll be honest with you. I've been there, done it. So it's not going to help. I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts, a little bit of, my baggage, and what I've been pondering the past couple of weeks and months and so forth. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to the podcast. So let's get into today's word. So guys, let's go ahead and get into today's word. So today's word is observant. And observant means pay close attention to details. And the synonyms that I have for observant is watchful, vigilant, focus, attentive, mindful, and sharp. And where I'm at right now in my journey is, I am, in addition to other things, I am observant. I am looking around and seeing what things I need to implement for me, what things is going to bring me peace, I am advocating for myself. I am watching others and learning from others and kind of seeing how they move. And if I need to pick out a little piece to throw in my toolbox, I do. And if I don't, I don't. Also, I'm at a journey in my life in which I don't give any more than what I need to give. And I feel like I'm very adamant about that and very focused on that. Because I feel like being observant is understanding that not all situations, especially when it deals with people, are going to manifest the way that you think is going to manifest. And I guess more than manifestation, that people are going to be people. You have to remain vigilant in your thinking and your process and doing the things that's going to be of positive value to yourself. That is where I'm at, and I'm on it. I am on it. You know, I try to again just make sure I'm good. But guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope that you have learned something from this episode, and I brought some maybe a different aspect of or thought that you may want to consider and everything towards your journey. I'm not asking for people to be like me. I don't want nobody to be like me. Be you. At the same time is learn from the people who care, who want to see you better off. And I just honestly want people to do what is necessary for themselves at the end of the day. And however way you get there, as long as you're doing it in the utmost respectful way, then I'm all for it. So guys, that is where I'm going to leave this week's podcast episode. Again, I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you wish to contact me, you can hit me on my email, abia_grant@yahoo.com. As well, guys, I have an IG page for Reflection by Abia, so that information will be listed down below. Stay blessed out there in those streets. Make sure that you treat others kindly out there in those streets, and God willing, I will talk to you guys in another podcast episode. All right, stay blessed, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for listening to Reflection by Abia. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about today's episode, and share the podcast with your friends and family. The link will be available in the show notes.